WorldComEDU. Elite Children's Classics.
Little Women. Chapter 1. Meeting the Girls. The light of the gentle flames reflected off the faces of the 4 little women as they sat in front of the fireplace. "Christmas just won't be Christmas without any presents," grumbled Jo. "Oh, it's so dreadful to be poor," sighed Meg as she looked at her old dress. "I don't think it's fair for some girls to have plenty of pretty things and other girls to have nothing at all," added little Amy. "But we've got Father and Mother and each other," said Beth cheerfully. The truth of the matter was, however, that even though the girls did have their mother, Mrs. March, their father was far off fighting in a war. The truth also was that there was very little money with which to celebrate Christmas that year, for with their father far away, there was no income. Besides, it didn't seem right to spend precious money for pleasures when the men were suffering so in the army. As the light from the fire shone on the girls' faces, one could see an interesting study in contrasts. For even though the 4 little women were sisters, they were as different as night and day. Margaret, or Meg, the eldest of the 4, was 16. She was very pretty, being plump and fair-skinned with large eyes, plenty of soft brown hair, a sweet mouth, and white hands, of which she was very vain. 15-year-old Josephine was next. Jo was very tall, thin and brown, and reminded one of a colt because she never seemed to know what to do with her long limbs. They always seemed to be in her way. She had a firm mouth, a funny nose, and sharp gray eyes which missed seeing nothing and could suddenly change from fierce to funny to thoughtful. Her long, thick hair was usually bundled up in a net, was her one beauty. An avid tomboy, Jo looked very much like an uncomfortable girl who was rapidly shooting up into a woman, and didn't like it one bit. Elizabeth, or Beth as everyone called her, was a rosy, smooth-haired, bright-eyed girl of 13. She had a shy manner, a timid voice, and a peaceful expression which seldom changed. Physically, she was not as strong as the others, and her play was very quiet and gentle. Her father called her Little Tranquility. This name suited her perfectly, because she seemed to live in a happy world of her own, not venturing far from her close family. Amy, though the youngest at 12, was nevertheless a very important person, in her own opinion at least. She was a regular snow maiden with blue eyes and yellow curling hair, which hung to her shoulders. Amy was pale and slender, and always behaving like a young lady, mindful of her manners. As you can see, dear reader, the 4 girls did not physically resemble each other at all. As for their characters, they were also uniquely different one from the other. Meg's dream was to live out her life in luxury of a glorious home filled with gorgeous decorations, beautiful clothes, and gay parties, all the while being attended to by loyal and adoring servants. Unfortunately, the March family lived in quite an opposite condition, since Mr. March lost his property while trying to help an unfortunate friend, and now he wasn't even at home, nor able to support his family. This meant that each girl had to do her part financially. For a small salary, Meg's task was that of tutor and governess to 4 young and spoiled children. Comparing her old plain wardrobe and lifestyle with that of her friends, she would say, I shall have to work all my days with only little bits of fun now and then, and grow old and ugly and sour because I'm poor and can't enjoy my life as other girls do. What a shame! The fact is that Meg was often invited to attend extravagant dance parties given by her friends, where even though her dresses were old and plain, her pretty face caught the eyes of the other guests. She tried not to be envious of the others, but it was very natural that she should wish for pretty things, jolly friends, successful accomplishments, and a happy life. Often she felt bitter towards everyone, for she had not yet learned to know that the true riches in life are not in material possessions, but rather in love. Jo's ambition had nothing to do with luxuries. She dreamed of one day doing something very splendid. As yet, however, she had no idea what that splendid thing might be, but was quite content for the future to reveal it to her some day. Meanwhile, her biggest frustration was that of finding enough time to read, run, and ride as much as she liked. A quick temper, sharp tongue, and restless spirit were always getting her into trouble, and her life was a constant series of ups and downs, both comic and pathetic. Jo's job was that of being a companion to the elderly and very grouchy Aunt March. She would wind yarn, converse with the difficult old lady, wash her poodle, read to her, or do whatever Aunt March wished. The moment that the peppery old lady would settle in for her afternoon nap, Jo would rush to a quiet place, curl up in an easy chair, and devour poetry, romance, history, travel, or whatever Aunt March's library offered her. It was pure heaven until the aunt's nap was finished, and once more she had to contend with her difficult employer. Beth was too bashful to go to school. She had tried it once, but found it so difficult that in the end her parents allowed her to study at home under their guidance. She was a housewifely little girl and helped keep the home neat and comfortable for the others. All she asked in return was to be loved. Her long, quiet days were filled with caring for her 6 dolls, all outcasts which her sisters had outgrown and passed on to her. She nursed and mothered these rejected children as if they were real babies. Beth's dream was to one day have a fine piano. She loved music dearly, studying and practicing every day faithfully on an old yellow-keyed piano that didn't stay in tune. Quiet and shy, Beth's purpose in life was to cheerfully care for and love others. If anyone had asked Amy what the greatest trial in her life was, she would have announced at once My nose! It was not big nor red. It was only rather flat. Even though she pinched it constantly, she could not change it into an aristocratic point. No one minded her nose except Amy, but she drew whole pages of handsome noses to comfort herself. She had a good talent for art and loved drawing flowers and fairies and unusual designs. Her drawings covered all her school books and papers. Amy was a spoiled girl, but nevertheless a great favorite of her classmates, as she was good-tempered, pleasant, and possessed extremely good manners. These same traits she used to charm her teachers. This help she needed badly because she was not a very accomplished student. Besides her drawing, she could play 12 tunes, crochet, and read French without mispronouncing more than 2/3 of the words. She often said sadly to her friends, "When Papa was rich, we did so-and-so," which troubled them deeply. The reality was, however, that far-off Papa was not rich anymore, and their mother had to scrimp and save every penny in order to survive. Chapter 2. The Lawrence Boy. Quite the opposite situation from the March family was that of the old man and his bashful, orphaned grandson who lived right next door. So shy was the boy that for many, many years they had not even met him. The girls would, however, from time to time catch a glimpse of him peeking out from behind the windows in the old lovely mansion. Mr. Lawrence was the grandfather's name, and Laurie was the boy's. How desperately Laurie wished to join the four sisters as he watched from his window and saw them playing and picnicking together in their yard. He was terribly lonely for a friend. By chance, Joe and Laurie met one evening at a neighbor's party. Almost instantly they became great friends, liking each other for their directness and honesty. And, just as suddenly, Laurie joined the March household whenever he could, which was almost every day. Everyone liked Laurie, and their friendships grew like grass in spring. With the delightful enthusiasm of youth, the girls included the lonely boy in their family. He found something very charming in the innocent companionship of these good-hearted girls. Never having known a mother or sisters, he was quick to enjoy their influence, and their busy, hard-working ways made him ashamed of the lazy, easy life he led. Grandfather Lawrence was deeply grateful for the happy change the 5 March females made in his grandson. Although he was a very rich old man and could buy Laurie anything in the world he dreamed of, Mr. Lawrence also knew that the richness of their kindnesses was of greater value than all of his money. Laurie became a true companion to all the girls, and his generous grandfather became a source of friendship and help to not only the girls, but also to their dear mother. Mrs. March was considered saintly by all who knew her. She spent all her days helping the poor and suffering people in their town, and then returning to her girls each night. She was a noble woman and deeply admired by her family, who regarded her as the most splendid mother in the whole world. A source of constant worry to the whole family was Father. Being too old to be drafted and not strong enough to be a soldier, he had volunteered himself to be a chaplain to the troops. Occasionally, a letter would arrive from him. My dearest daughters, I give you each my love and a kiss. A year seems very long to wait before I see you again. But while we wait, please remember to do your duties faithfully and grow more loving and beautiful each day. Chapter 3. The Letter. One day, the girls looked up from their household tasks to see both Mother and Laurie heading towards the house from different directions. As they came nearer, Laurie said affectionately to Mrs. March, "Can I do anything for you, Madam Mother?" "No, thank you, Laurie, except that you could stop in at the post office to see if there's a letter from Father. It's our day for a letter, and postman hasn't come. Usually Father is as regular as the sun about writing, but this time there's been a delay," she replied. A sharp ring interrupted her. It was a delivery boy at the door with a telegram. Mrs. March nervously grabbed it, read its 2 lines, and dropped back into her chair as shocked as if the little letter paper had sent a bullet through her heart. Laurie dashed into the kitchen for a glass of water for Mother, while Joe, in a frightened voice, read the telegram out loud. Mrs. March, your husband is very ill. Come at once. S. Hale, Blank Hospital, Washington. How still the day instantly became as they all listened breathlessly. How strangely the day darkened outside, and how suddenly the whole world seemed to change as the girls gathered about their mother. They felt as if all the happiness and support of their lives was about to be taken away from them. Mrs. March took a deep breath, read message again, and spoke in a clear voice. "Oh, I shall go at once, but it may be too late. Oh, children, children, help me to bear it." For several minutes there was nothing but the sound of crying in the room. "There's no time for tears now. Be calm, girls, and let me think," said Mother. Plans were quickly made for what each child could do to help prepare Mrs. March for the long journey to Washington, and they each hastily went about their tasks. Mother made arrangements to leave the first thing the next morning. As she worked, Jo found herself thinking more and more about the money that would be needed for the long, sad journey. Of course, it would have to be borrowed, something they all regretted very much. She wondered what she could do to help. As the day wore on, each job was completed. It was only as the sun was setting that the family realized that Jo was gone. They began to worry when she didn't return, and they asked Laurie to go out and find her. When he returned alone, their worries really increased. There was no telling what Jo had in mind, and their sincere concern was real. Suddenly, in walked Jo. On her face was a queer mixture of fun and fear, satisfaction and regret, looks which puzzled her family as much as did the roll of money which she laid before her mother. With a choke in her voice, Jo said, "That's my contribution toward making Father comfortable and bringing him home." "My dear, where did you get it?" asked Mother. $25? Jo, what have you done? "Don't worry, Mother. The money is mine. I didn't beg, borrow, or steal to get it. I earned it. And I don't think you'll blame me for what I've done, because I only sold what was mine." As she spoke, Jo took off her bonnet. Everyone let out a cry as they looked at her. Jo's long, thick, beautiful hair was cut short. She had sold it. "Your hair! Your beautiful hair! Your one beauty! My dear girl, how could you? There was no need for you to sacrifice your most beautiful possession. You don't look like my Jo anymore, but I love you dearly for it," cried Mother. As everyone cried with her, Jo assumed an indifferent air which did not fool anyone. Ruffling her short brown bush, she exclaimed bravely, "It doesn't matter one bit, so don't cry. It will be good for my vanity. I was getting too proud of my hair anyway. Besides, my head feels deliciously light and cool. And the barber said I will soon have a boyishly becoming, easy-to-manage hairstyle. I'm satisfied, so please take the money. It is my way of helping Father." No one wanted to go to bed that night with the thought of Mother leaving the next morning. Finally, not able to stretch the evening any longer, the girls quietly kissed Mrs. March good night and silently went off to bed. Beth and Amy were soon asleep despite the great trouble, but Meg lay awake thinking the most serious thoughts of her life. Jo lay motionless, and her sister thought she was asleep until a little sob made her softly exclaim, "Jo, dear, what is it? Are you crying about Father?" "No, not now," replied Jo. "What then?" My hair," burst out poor Jo. "But I'm not sorry, and I'd do it all over again. It's only the vain, selfish part of me that goes and cries in this silly way. Don't tell anyone, because it's all over now." Meg kissed and hugged her sister, and soon the two were asleep. Much later, a very still figure glided through the sleeping rooms, going quietly from bed to bed, pausing to look with love and tenderness at each beloved daughter. Chapter 4. The Little Women Alone. No one talked much the next morning as the time grew near for Mother's departure. Everyone dreaded seeing her leave and kept putting the final moment out of her mind. And then, suddenly, Mother was getting into the carriage and riding off. "Don't worry, my darlings, while I'm gone. And remember that you can comfort yourselves by keeping busy so your thoughts won't dwell on our problems. Pray for Father. I love you," she called back to them from the carriage window. Many uneasy days followed that morning, in which the girls tried hard to keep from worrying. At last, a letter arrived. The news was that although Father was dangerously ill, he was recovering. following that first letter, other letters arrived daily, each sounding more and more cheerful. 10 days after Mother had left, Beth reminded her sisters that they had promised to visit the Hummels, a poor family which Mrs. March made a practice of watching over. As each girl was busy with her own activities that afternoon, Beth decided to visit the Hummels herself. She quietly put on her coat, filled her basket with treats for the unfortunate children, and went out into the cold air. It was late when she came back home, and no one saw her go quietly upstairs and shut herself in Mother's room. 30 minutes later, while going upstairs on an errand, Joe found Beth sitting before Mother's medicine box looking sad, very serious, and red-eyed. "What's the matter?" demanded Joe. You and Meg have had scarlet fever, haven't you?" asked Beth. "Yes, years ago. Why?" answered Joe. "Because the Hummel baby just died. I was holding her in my arms while Mrs. Hummel went to get the doctor. She seemed asleep, but then suddenly gave a little cry, trembled, and then lay very still. I knew she was dead. By then the doctor had arrived. Upon finding the dead baby, he became very angry with Mrs. Hummel and said she was wrong to not have contacted him sooner. She told him that she was very poor and had tried to care for the baby herself. But now it was too late, and she begged him to help the other children. The doctor then became much kinder, and we all cried together. He then turned to me and ordered me home at once, and told me not to come back or I'd get scarlet fever also." "No, you won't," cried Joe, hugging her little sister. "I'll care for you so you won't get sick. Just to be on the safe side, however, we had better send Amy to Aunt March's house so that she'll be safe. She has never had scarlet fever. Meg and I will watch over you. Don't worry." Reluctantly, little Amy left the house within the hour, and the two girls set about caring for Beth. As the days passed, Beth did indeed become ill, very ill. She was in great pain, but bore it without complaining, as long as she could control herself. But then there came a time when the fever caused her not to recognize her sisters, and she would beg for her mother. A letter came from Mother which only added to their trouble. Father had become worse. The girls decided not to tell Mother about Beth, since it was quite impossible for her to care for both sick loved ones at the same time. How dark the days seemed, and how lonely and sad the sisters were as they worked and waited. They were terribly worried about Beth's condition, which was steadily growing more serious all the time. It was Laurie, in the end, who sent word of Beth's illness to Mrs. March. Watching Beth become worse and worse, he decided that she needed her mother right away. The moment that Mrs. March received that urgent message from Laurie, she made immediate plans to return home. There are no words to tell the meeting between the mother and daughters. Such hours are beautiful to live, but very hard to describe other than to say that the house was full of genuine happiness. When Beth weakly opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was her mother's face. Too weak to wonder at anything, she only smiled and nestled close into the loving arms about her, feeling her loneliness over at last. Then Beth slept again, clinging to her mother's hand even in her sleep. Chapter 5. The Reunion. Like sunshine after a storm, the peaceful weeks which followed were full of healing and joy. Letters from Father stated that he was improving well enough to be thinking of returning early in the new year. Once more, the holiday season was upon them. On Christmas Day, Beth was feeling so well that she said, "I'm so full of happiness that if Father were only here, I couldn't hold one drop more, or I would burst." Sometimes miracles do happen. Shortly after everyone agreed they could hold only one more drop of happiness, the drop came. Laurie threw open the front door and shouted, "Here's one more Christmas present for the March family." There stood Father, leaning weakly on the arm of a strong man. Of course, there was a general stampede where everyone raced towards their father to embrace him. Loving arms wrapped around him, covering him with love from head to toe. The hearts in that family huddle were overflowing with joy, washing away the bitterness of the past and bringing only the sweetness of the present. There never was a Christmas in the world like the one of 4 little women and their parents spent that day. Thankfulness radiated from the depths of each one. And so, this one difficult year in the lives of Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy drew to a close. What the new year was to bring them, only time would tell.